Good afternoon, friends. Here we are with yesterday's Gospel Reflection, the fifth Sunday of Lent. I'm just going to read a small portion of this rather lengthy story of the raising of Lazarus, the part that I would like to highlight. When she had said this, she went back and called her sister Mary and told her privately, "The teacher is here and is calling for you." And when she heard it, she got up quickly and went to him. Now Jesus had not yet come into the village, but was still at the place where Martha had met him. The Jews who were with her in the house, consoling her, saw Mary get up quickly and go out. They followed her because they thought she was going to the tomb to weep there. When Mary came where Jesus was and saw him, she knelt at his feet and said to him, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her also weeping, he was greatly disturbed in spirit and deeply moved. He said, "Where have you laid him?" They said to him, "Lord, come and see." Jesus began to weep. So the Jews said, "See how he loved him." But some of them said, "Could not he who opened the eyes of the blind man have kept this man from dying?" And I think that is a very important question and a very important thing for us to consider. Because there's Jesus weeping, and people say, "Yeah, he loved him." And then there are others who take a different tack, a tack that many in our culture want to take, which is that of pushing forward and making it all right and winning the day. And yet this is not God's way, is it? Clearly. Because Jesus weeps. And Jesus did not come and just, prevent Lazarus from dying. That is not God's way. And somehow, whether it's comfortable to us or not, and mostly it's not comfortable, it is our way. It is the way of humanity, and it is the way that Jesus walked with us, tearfully, in grief, in reality, and not making magic, changing life in some way that God had not intended. I want to share with you a little story that I ran across. It's not a little story, it's actually a big one. Something that happened in 2015, where a woman named Antoinette Tuff was at a large elementary school into middle school. She was a bookkeeper. And she was in an office where she shouldn't have been for the moment, when a 20-year-old man, Michael Hill, walked in with an AK-47 and 500 rounds of ammunition. And he wanted to die, and his intention was to take out as many people as he could on the way. And he told that to Antoinette. And she describes herself as scared silly. Did call 911, which Michael urged her to do. And so a tape was created of the 30 minutes where she and Michael talked. Now, she knew, obviously, on some deep cellular level, how to connect with Michael was going to be to open up and share her own story of struggle and loss. If you listen to this tape, and you hear Antoinette tell him that her husband left her just a year ago, and that she had a disabled child, and that she herself, too, had contemplated suicide. It's a breathtaking moment. In that instant, she was connecting with Michael through the clearest point of their common humanity, through their mutual experience of brokenness and grief. In truth, we all have these broken places, even Jesus. In ways large and small, none of us are fully whole, though Jesus may be. Nevertheless, Jesus grieves. He weeps with us. He is less than whole to be with us. As Antoinette rightly said, we all go through something in life, whether it's physical or emotional illness, the loss of someone we love, or simply the day in and day out stressors of physical or emotional illness, the loss of someone we love, or simply the day in and day out rigors of life that leave us broken. None of us is immune to the brokenness of life. Sooner or later, we all get wounded in some way. All too often, though, our wounds tend to isolate us. We let them isolate us. We isolate ourselves because of our wounds. And that causes us to be shut off from the world and from those around us. But as we all know, any wound left untended just festers and grows. If we bury our pain deep down, it inevitably becomes a source of shame and fear, sometimes cripplingly so. Just like physical wounds, we need to tend to our psychic, spiritual wounds. We need to acknowledge and own their existence, because when we accept our own brokenness and our grief and our hurt as a basic aspect of our very humanity, we are, whether realize it or not, taking our first step toward healing and a closer step toward godliness shown to us by Jesus. Thank you for listening.